In a time of conflict and power struggles, what would you give up for peace and fairness? Hazrat Hasan and Hazrat Husain faced tough choices that tested their beliefs in peace and justice. What did they choose? Today we will explore the lives of these two brothers whose actions still resonate with millions. Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel, Naseeha Studio. Today in this video, we will be talking about the grandsons of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and sons of Hazrat Ali Hasan and Hussein. In the shadow of a great prophecy, two brothers Hasan and Hussein stood at the crossroads of history. This is the story of Hasan and Hussein, grandsons of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who were born to be leaders not just of their community, but of the hearts of generations to come. Born into the revered household of the Prophet, peace be upon him, their lives were marked by both celestial blessings and profound human challenges. From their early days whispering prayers in the Prophet's, peace be upon him, mosque to the turbulent times that tested their spirits and faith, their story is one of courage, piety, and an unyielding commitment to righteousness. Early life, birth, and lineage. In the heart of the Arabian Peninsula, under the vivid skies of Medina, two stars were born into a household destined to guide generations. Hasan, the elder, arrived under the mantle of peace, his birth bringing joy and celebrations that echoed through the city's bustling streets. A year later, Hussein followed, his first breaths heralding a future filled with passion and profound resolve. They were the grandsons of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, a lineage rich with spiritual depth and divine favor. Their father, Ali, was not only the cousin of the Prophet, peace be upon him, but also his close companion and a valiant warrior. Their mother, Fatima, was cherished as the Prophet's, peace be upon him, beloved daughter, and her virtues and piety were widely revered. From their first moments, the lives of Hasan and Hussein were intertwined with prophecy and expectation. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, upon holding them for the first time, whispered the call to prayer in their ears, symbolically marking their ears for the words of Allah. He often said with immense pride and hope, Hasan and Hussein are the leaders of the youth of paradise. Childhood. The childhood of Hasan and Hussein was marked by an extraordinary upbringing as they grew under the nurturing watch of their grandfather. They were regular figures in the Prophet's, peace be upon him, gatherings, where they observed and imbibed the wisdom he imparted to his followers. The companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, recalled moments when Hasan and Hussein would playfully climb on the Prophet's, peace be upon him, back during his prayers, and rather than hurry them, he would prolong his prostration, allowing them their innocent delight. These early years were not only filled with love and attention, but were also a period of profound learning. They were taught the Qur'an and the Hadiths, absorbing not just the words, but the essence of compassion, justice, and leadership that their grandfather so perfectly exemplified. Influence of family. As they matured, the influence of their family's values became evident in their characters. Ali, their father, was a paragon of justice and bravery, often involving them in his affairs and instilling in them a sense of responsibility towards upholding truth and righteousness. Fatima, their mother, imparted lessons of humility and sacrifice. Her devotion to their spiritual growth was unwavering, often spending nights in prayer for their well-being and future. Despite the bliss of their early years, the shadows of future trials began to loom as political tensions grew in Medina. After the Prophet's, peace be upon him, passing, the landscape of leadership within the Muslim community underwent significant changes. This period shaped Hasan and Hussein not only as leaders but as beacons of hope and resilience. They witnessed their father's struggle to maintain unity and their mother's steadfast support in the face of escalating challenges. This phase of their life, brimming with both celestial blessings and intense personal trials, set the stage for their eventual roles as leaders of the Muslim community. Their journey was not just about maintaining the legacy of their grandfather, but about forging a path that exemplified the true essence of faith and leadership in times of both peace and profound adversity. Adulthood and leadership. Hasan's brief caliphate. After the death of their father, Hazrat Ali, the mantle of leadership in the Muslim community, known as the caliphate, fell to Hasan. This transition marked not only a continuation of his father's leadership, but also the beginning of a critical period filled with political intrigue and discord. Hasan, recognized for his wisdom and patience, ascended as the caliph in Kufa amidst a turbulent time when unity among Muslims was fracturing. Hasan's tenure as caliph was characterized by his attempts to heal divisions and prevent further bloodshed among Muslims. He faced significant opposition from Muawiyah, the governor of Syria, who challenged Hasan's legitimacy and sought the caliphate for himself. The conflict threatened to plunge the Muslim community into a devastating civil war. In a decision that reflected his deep commitment to peace and the well-being of the Ummah Muslim community, Hassan made a profound choice. He signed a treaty with Muawiyah, abdicating the caliphate under the condition that Muawiyah would not appoint a successor but would let the community decide, thereby hoping to ensure a peaceful future for the community after Muawiyah's rule. This decision was met with mixed reactions. Some viewed it as a weakness, while many others saw it as a testament to his true leadership, prioritizing the unity and welfare of the Ummah over personal power. Hassan's act of abdication to avoid bloodshed among Muslims is often seen as his greatest legacy, illustrating his commitment to the prophetic teachings of compassion and peace. Hussein's stand. Upon Muawiyah's death, his son Yazid sought to succeed him, contrary to the treaty's conditions. Hussein, now seeing the principles of justice and the welfare of the community under threat, stood against Yazid's claim to leadership. Hussein's refusal to pledge allegiance to Yazid was not merely a political stance, but a profound assertion of his commitment to the ethical and moral principles of Islam. Hussein's decision led him to the desert plains of Karbala, where he and a small group of family and followers were surrounded by Yazid's much larger forces. The standoff at Karbala was not just a battle over power, but a stark display of the struggle between righteousness and tyranny, between a group standing firmly for their principles and an overwhelming force bent on imposing its rule. The event of Karbala, the 10th of Muharram, known as Ashura, marked the climax of this struggle. Hussein and his small band of followers, including women and children, were deprived of water and faced with the stark choice of submission or death. Hussein's resolve did not waver. He chose to stand for justice, resulting in the tragic martyrdom of himself and most of his companions. The event of Karbala is a pivotal and deeply moving story in Islamic history, mainly observed by Shia Muslims, but also acknowledged by Sunni Muslims for its moral significance. It took place in the year 680 AD in the desert of Karbala, now part of modern-day Iraq. The event centers around a tragic conflict involving Hussein ibn Ali, the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and the forces of Yazid I, the ruler of the Umayyad dynasty. Yazid became the leader after his father, Muawiyah, despite an earlier agreement that leadership wouldn't become a family dynasty. Hussein refused to recognize Yazid's rule, seeing it as unjust and corrupt. Yazid demanded Hussein's allegiance, but Hussein chose to stand by his principles, sparking a significant conflict. Hussein decided to leave his home in Medina and head to Kufa in present-day Iraq, responding to calls from his supporters there who opposed Yazid's rule. On the way, he and his group, which included family members and a small band of followers, totaling around 72 men, were intercepted by a much larger army loyal to Yazid at Karbala. They were surrounded and cut off from essential supplies like water from the nearby Euphrates River. For several days, Hussein and his group were under siege, with repeated demands from Yazid's forces that Hussein swear allegiance to Yazid. Hussein steadfastly refused, despite the increasingly desperate conditions for him and his followers. On the 10th of Muharram, a day now known as Ashura, the standoff came to a violent end. Yazid's army attacked, and despite their bravery and determination, Hussein and his followers were overwhelmingly outnumbered and were killed. The women and children who survived were taken captive, and Hussein's head was sent to Yazid as a symbol of victory. The death of Hussein and the subsequent treatment of his family sparked widespread outrage and grief within the Muslim community. This event did not just symbolize a fight over political power, it became emblematic of a moral and spiritual struggle. Hussein's refusal to yield to a ruler he saw as illegitimate has made him a symbol of resistance against tyranny and oppression. The memory of Karbala has a lasting legacy, particularly in Shia Islam. Every year, during the month of Muharram, millions of Muslims commemorate Hussein's sacrifice through public mourning rituals, plays, and processions. These commemorations are expressions of respect and grief, but also reminders of the values Hussein stood for: justice, truth, and dignity against oppression. The story of Karbala, while rooted in history, continues to resonate across centuries, reminding people of the profound costs of standing up for what is morally right. Legacy and impact. The aftermath of Karbala and the stories of Hassan's and Hussein's leadership left an indelible mark on the Muslim community. Their lives continue to be commemorated annually during the month of Muharram, especially on the day of Ashura. Their sacrifices are remembered as the epitome of steadfastness in faith and righteousness against overwhelming odds. Hassan's and Hussein's leadership, marked by their profound moral courage and dedication to the principles of Islam, not only shaped the political landscape of their time, but also offered timeless lessons in leadership, integrity, and faith. Through their lives, they exemplified that true leadership is rooted in the welfare of the people and steadfastness in moral principles, even at the cost of personal sacrifice. Legacy and impact. The legacy and impact of the events at Karbala are profound and far-reaching, resonating through centuries as a powerful symbol of steadfastness and sacrifice in the face of tyranny. The martyrdom of Hussein and his followers has not only shaped the religious contours of Shia Islam, but has also left an indelible mark on the broader Islamic culture and beyond, embodying universal themes of justice, freedom, and the human struggle against oppression. Spiritual legacy. Hussein's stand against Yazid is seen not merely as a historical event, but as a timeless moral lesson. In Shia Islam, Hussein is viewed as a martyr who sacrificed his life for the sanctity of Islam's true spiritual and ethical values. His refusal to pledge allegiance to a tyrannical rule is celebrated as an act of ultimate bravery and faithfulness to Allah's commandments. This has cemented Hussein, alongside his brother Hassan, as eternal figures of righteousness and piety. Yearly during Ashura, the 10th day of Muharram, millions of Shia Muslims around the world commemorate Hussein's martyrdom through ceremonies and rituals that express deep sorrow and mourning. This includes reenactments of the Battle of Karbala, recitations of elegies, and processions that not only honor Hussein's sacrifice, but also serve as a renewal of their faith and personal commitment to uphold justice. Cultural impact. The story of Karbala has transcended religious boundaries, influencing a wide array of cultural expressions across Muslim countries. It has inspired a rich body of literature, including poetry and narratives that explore the themes of martyrdom, resistance, and divine justice. These stories are a staple in Islamic literature, with their recitations forming a crucial part of the mourning rituals during Muharram. Moreover, the influence of Karbala extends to visual arts, music, and theatre, particularly within Shia communities. Passion plays known as Tasbih dramatize the events of Karbala, blending religious devotion with theatrical expression to evoke emotional and spiritual reflections on Hussein's stand. Modern relevance. The legacy of Hussein and the Battle of Karbala remains relevant in modern times, symbolizing the struggle against oppression and injustice. For many, Hussein is a hero who stood up for his principles at the cost of his life, making him a symbol for human rights movements worldwide. His story has been evoked in various contemporary contexts, where people see parallels between their struggles for social justice and Hussein's fight against tyranny. In politics, the symbolism of Karbala has often been mobilized to galvanize support during times of conflict and revolution. For instance, during the Islamic Revolution in Iran, the imagery and messages of Karbala were powerful motifs in the rhetoric used to unify people against the Shah's regime. The legacy of Hassan and Hussein, especially the events at Karbala, continue to echo through time, inspiring countless individuals to reflect on the deeper meanings of faith, sacrifice, and the perpetual human quest for dignity and justice. These figures remind followers not only of their historical and religious significance, but also of the moral imperatives that drive humanity's ongoing quest for a better world. The memory of Karbala, thus, stands not only as a central religious observance but also as a powerful symbol of resistance and human rights, transcending the confines of time and geography to inspire future generations. Influence of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was not just their grandfather but also their spiritual leader and an exemplar of moral and ethical conduct. Hasan and Hussein spent their early years under his care and guidance, learning directly from his teachings and actions. The Prophet, peace be upon him, cherished Hasan and Hussein, often bringing them with him during prayers and while addressing his followers, thereby exposing them early to the responsibilities and spiritual demeanor of leadership. Prophet Muhammad's, peace be upon him, affection for his grandsons was evident. He famously said, "Hasan and Hussein are the leaders of the youth of paradise." This statement highlighted not just his love, but also his recognition of their future roles within the Muslim community. His teachings undoubtedly laid the foundation for their deep spiritual convictions and their approaches to leadership, emphasizing mercy, justice, and piety. Influence of Hazrat Ali ibn Abi Talib. Hazrat Ali, the father of Hasan and Hussein, was the first male to accept Islam and was known for his deep knowledge, piety, and valor in battles. As the fourth caliph of Islam, Ali's leadership was marked by his emphasis on justice and equality, traits that deeply influenced both Hasan and Hussein. After the death of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, Ali's guidance became even more crucial as he navigated the challenges facing the Muslim community. Ali's close relationship with his sons included not only training them in governance and leadership, but also in warfare and diplomacy. His unwavering commitment to justice and his refusal to compromise on his principles in the face of political pressure were lessons that would resonate profoundly with Hasan and Hussein, shaping their own leadership paths. Influence of Fatima al-Zahra. Fatima, the daughter of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and the mother of Hasan and Hussein, is revered in Islam for her virtue and piety. Her devotion to her faith and her family set a powerful example for her sons. Fatima's influence on Hasan and Hussein was immense, teaching them the importance of steadfastness in faith, resilience, and the welfare of the community over personal gain. Fatima's personal sufferings and her dignified responses to adversity also left a deep imprint on her sons. Her life illustrated the virtues of patience and trust in Allah's will, which were evident in the way Hasan accepted the treaty with Muawiyah to avoid further Muslim bloodshed, and how Hussein stood firm in his principles at Karbala despite facing overwhelming odds. Legacy of spiritual and ethical leadership. Together, these familial influences profoundly shaped Hasan and Hussein's characters. Their leadership was not merely a consequence of their lineage, but a reflection of the profound spiritual and ethical upbringing they received. Their actions, particularly during times of great trial and adversity, reflected the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the wisdom of Ali, and the steadfastness of Fatima. This unique blend of spiritual depth, ethical rigor, and a commitment to justice defined their legacies and ensured that their lives would continue to inspire future generations, not only within Islam but as universal examples of dignified resistance against oppression and injustice. One of the most interesting and heartwarming events that highlight the character and upbringing of Hazrat Hasan and Hazrat Husain involves an incident during their childhood that beautifully illustrates their early understanding of compassion and generosity, teachings they absorbed from their grandfather, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The event of the blanket. This event is often recounted in Islamic traditions and serves as a great example of the values instilled in Hasan and Hussein by their family. The story goes as follows. One cold evening, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, along with Hasan, Hussein, and their parents, Ali and Fatima, were sitting at home when a beggar passed by their house asking for help. Despite their modest means, each member of the family, including the young Hasan and Hussein, decided to give up something dear to them to assist the needy person. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had a blanket which he gave to the beggar. Inspired by their grandfather's gesture, Hasan and Hussein, though very young, decided to contribute by giving some of their own belongings. Fatima provided some food, and Ali gave a part of his clothing. Moved by their collective act of kindness, the beggar thanked them and left much better equipped to face the cold. That night, as the family sat with less than they had, they received a revelation from Allah, which later became part of the Qur'an. In Surah Al-Insan, it is recounted that they fed the needy, the orphan, and the prisoner for the love of Allah, saying, "We feed you for the sake of Allah alone. We seek from you neither reward nor thanks." This verse celebrates their selflessness and willingness to help others despite their own needs. Reflections on the event. This event showcases the virtue of self-sacrifice that was a hallmark of their upbringing. It also beautifully exemplifies how the teachings of compassion, charity, and concern for the less fortunate were ingrained in Hasan and Hussein from a very early age. Their actions were not merely acts of charity, but were deeply connected to their spiritual life and their understanding of what it means to serve others as part of one's service to Allah. Such stories are cherished within the Islamic tradition as they provide moral and ethical lessons that are timeless. They highlight the character of Hasan and Hussein, not just as historical figures, but as role models whose lives continue to inspire virtues of kindness, generosity, and piety in daily practice. This particular event, often shared among communities and in teachings, resonates as a testament to the profound influence of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, as a role model and the powerful legacy of his family's commitment to living a life of virtue. In conclusion, the lives of Hazrat Hasan and Hazrat Husain stand as profound testimonies to the enduring virtues of faith, courage, and integrity. Raised in the house of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, under the loving guidance of their father, Hazrat Ali, and their mother, Fatima, both brothers absorbed profound spiritual and ethical teachings that would later define their characters and destinies. Hazrat Hasan, known for his wisdom and commitment to peace, chose reconciliation over conflict, demonstrating a profound leadership quality that prioritized the unity and well-being of the Muslim community above personal power. His decision to make peace with Muawiyah, thus avoiding further Muslim bloodshed, underscores a leadership style deeply entrenched in the principles of mercy and communal harmony, as taught by Islam. Hazrat Husain, on the other hand, remains a symbol of resistance against tyranny. His martyrdom at Karbala is not just a story of immense sacrifice, but it also highlights the stark contrast between the moral and just leadership exemplified by his grandfather and the corrupt practices of the ruling authorities of his time. Husain's unwavering stand for justice and the preservation of the Islamic faith resonate deeply across centuries, inspiring countless individuals to strive for righteousness and oppose oppression. Their stories continue to be relevant today, not only within the realms of Islamic teachings, but as universal examples of the power of standing up for one's principles. The annual commemoration of their sacrifices during Muharram, and particularly on the day of Ashura, serves as a reminder of the moral and ethical lessons their lives offer. These lessons encourage individuals to reflect on their own lives and the impact of their actions on their communities and the world at large. Thus, the legacies of Hazrat Hasan and Hazrat Husain teach us about the importance of righteousness, the courage to stand against injustice, and the ultimate sacrifices that may be required in the pursuit of what is just and true. Their lives and their choices continue to inspire, guide, and illuminate the path for those seeking to uphold the values of justice, peace, and integrity in their own lives. Thanks for tuning in to today's video. If you enjoyed this video and found it interesting, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more content celebrating the Islamic heritage. Your support really helps spread these important stories and teachings. We hope that Allah brings peace, happiness, and success to you and your family.